Thank you so much for joining Marafiki Wellness Club. And thank you for Peter, Cassandra, Monica for helping me figure out, how to do this. So our agenda today, of course, is to look at the mission, vision, principles, and belief of our group. And then we are going to reflect on what we have done this year. We started in February. I remember talking to some of you about, my dream about creating a wellness community. It just said like a thought and started talking to people and people, said, hey, I think you can do it. So, and I started in February and we have had quite a journey for the last 1 year. And then we're going to reflect on our 5 pillars, that help us kind of stay on board on what we're doing. And then we're going to talk about accountability partners. And then we're going to do some trivia and bingo in between. And we will look ahead to what we are planning to do in 2026. Most of the things that we have done this year, we have had the opportunity to record them and into our YouTube. So at the end of this presentation, we will, I'll kind of like show you how to log in into our YouTube channel so that you can see what we have been doing this year. Cassandra, will you please read for us our mission?
Okay, let's see. Our mission is to build a thriving community where wellness is achieved through balance, connection, and purpose. We focus on enhancing well-being by providing tools and resources that promote restorative rest, nutritious food, regular exercise, healthy relationships, and giving back to others. By focusing on supportive environment, we aim to empower individuals to grow holistically while contributing positively to their families, communities, and themselves.
Perfect. So that's our mission. Monica, will you please read for us our vision?
The mission or the vision?
The vision.
We envision a world where communities flourish through interconnectedness and holistic well-being. Our goal is to create spaces and opportunities where individuals and families thrive by prioritizing balance in mind, body, and spirit. Through our 5 core pillars: restorative rest, nutritious foods, exercise, healthy relationships with family, others, and our higher selves, and giving back to the community, we aim to lead a movement where wellness is not just personal but also collective, inspiring positive change and sustainable growth in the communities we serve. That's lovely.
Perfect. Good. The next part, this is the principles that will be guiding us in everything that we do. In everything that we do, the more we grow, these are the principles that are going to be guiding us. Nyakeo, are you able to read for us our principles?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
All right. The principles are community-centered wellness, fostering connections that inspire holistic growth and shared support. And the second one is evidence-based health practices, which include empowering members with science-based knowledge for balanced living. And the third one is empowerment through connection, which includes strengthening relationships with ourselves, others, and the community.
Thank you so much, Nyakeo. I'll tell you a little bit about our beliefs. So, our journey at Marafiki Wellness Club began with a simple yet powerful belief: true wellness goes beyond physical health. It's about fostering balance, connection, and purpose in every aspect of life. In today's fast-paced world, we saw people struggling to maintain this balance. Stress, disconnection, and unhealthy habits were becoming increasingly common. Recognizing this, we envisioned a space where individuals could focus on their well-being while reconnecting with their communities, their families, and their higher selves. So looking at this year in review, we started in February 2025. Our first meeting was at Edmond Library. And then we were just introducing ourselves to the community. And then in March, we went to Meet First Library and we did the same, introducing ourselves to the community. Monica, I don't think you were in the first podcast, but Albert and Dr. Fonkem, we did our first podcast in March 2025, and all of these are recorded in our YouTube. Our podcast was Myth or Medicine: How Critical Thinking and Fasting Can Transform Metabolic Health. And then in May 2025, we went to Belle Isle Library and we looked at elimination diet and body mapping meditation. July 2025, Monica and Dr. Fonkem, we did a podcast titled Unlocking Your Inner Healer, The Secret of Innate Immunity Revealed. And then our first outdoor activity was in July 2025, where we did Tai Chi at Mitch Park, led by Dr. Kapo. August 2025, we also did an outing where we did a community cleanup, plus an African drum jam session. So that was really fun. We were being hosted by Oklahoma Beautiful. Oklahoma Beautiful. This is an organization that does a lot of cleaning up in the community. So we are going to be working together in the future. In August 2025, Dr. Fonkem and Monica and we did a podcast entitled Your Immune System Has a Secret Life and It's Affecting Your Brain and Gut. And then, of course, today we're going to do our webinar. And then October 25th, we're going to have our end of year party. So I'm really looking forward to that. And thank you so much for everybody that has participated so far. So the greatest common factors is you, the people in this club. Volunteers that have been constant throughout the year is my son, Diana, Mackenzie, Monica, Dr. Fonkem, and Albert, and my little Galauko. So this is a family event because, my family and I are in it. So we also welcome other families to do that. Pastor Isaac, Nyakeo, and Esther have participated in more than one event. So thank you so much for being part of us. Let's see. Nancy, are you there? Nancy? Okay, I see she's logged in, but probably she's not able to talk. Let's see.
Yes,
Monica-
yes, I am. I was
Oh.
trying to get the mute. Yeah, sorry.
Good, thank you. Can you please read the 5 pillars of Marafiki Wellness Club?
I might not be able to because I'm driving, but I'm able to listen everything. Yes, but thank you for the honor.
Okay, perfect. Let's
Yeah.
see. Monica probably can do this for us safely.
Yeah, sure. Nancy, drive safely. 5 pillars of Marafiki Wellness Club: restorative rest, nutritious foods, exercise, healthy relationships, and giving back. Is that all?
Yep.
Mhm.
5. We don't want to focus on a lot of things. We just want to focus on 5 things. So those are our 5 pillars. So going to what brought us here today, we have 3 topics that we want to embark on. The first topic is body mindfulness and relaxing rituals. The second one, which it's a little bit longer. We were going to be talking about elimination diets and chronic wellness tips. And then the third one is feeling friendless. especially in our 30s, 40s, 50s. It's not as easy to make friends like when you are young. So feeling friendless, let's talk real connection. The first topic is going to be led by my good friend, Monica Halka. I've known Monica Halka for several years. Can I say 10? Am I safe to say 10?
I think it was before you went to medical school.
Yes. I've known Monica for a long time. She was my massage client. Then she became my friend. And I love her a lot because she gives me that space to, to have these different things that I want to do in this world. And, she's a good person to get feedback from. When I knew her, she was professor at Georgia Tech University teaching physics. And what I love her too, what I got to know about her too, is that she was also teaching mindfulness to the students. And later she started teaching mindfulness to the police officers in Atlanta. I'm going to give her a chance to introduce herself, and she will be leading us on this topic of body mindfulness and relaxing rituals. Thank you so much. Welcome, Monica.
Okay. So I don't know, can everyone see me or am I just for listening? Should you, I mean,
We can see you, Monica.
okay, good. Okay, yeah. So the reason I was teaching mindfulness was that about 12 years ago, I got involved with Tibetan mind training here in Atlanta through a Buddhist center that is one of the main centers led by the Dalai Lama. So, and he actually came to Atlanta a couple of times to participate. And I actually have been studying Tibetan mind training, which is proposes that you can control your mind. It takes a lot of practice and work, but that your mind and brain are two different things. Neurologists think they're the same thing, but the Tibetan monks think that they're different, and I'll explain a little bit about that. And I actually went to 3 of the Dalai Lama's monasteries in India to teach physics to the monks there because he wanted the monks to start learning science. So that was a real amazing experience too. So then I was able, after a few years of training, to feel comfortable in doing mindfulness training with the students at Georgia Tech. And I called it Mindfulness for Mental Acuity because I didn't think they would be interested in mindfulness for relaxation. They're really high stress students. And so I called it for mental acuity. But it is true that mindfulness can help your mental acuity, the practices that you can do, such as focus training and awareness training and simply clearing your mind so you have room to think about things. But today, we're talking about body mindfulness and relaxing rituals. And Lillian says I have about 15 minutes, and I think I can fill that. But if not, we'll just meditate. So, body mindfulness and relaxing rituals. First, body mindfulness. I think we all are completely aware that the way your body feels affects your mind, right? For example, when you're sick, your attitude really changes, right? You don't feel very cheerful. You're not very upbeat, right? Or when you're in pain, actually, you can feel a lot more stress when your pain is very stressful, raises your blood pressure even. So we know that the way the body feels does affect our emotions and our attitude. I think what a lot of people don't think about enough is how the mind affects the body. And here I'm going to distinguish between brain and mind, just to get you the idea of this is what Tibetan mind training teaches, and I believe it. I think that they are different if you consider them in these ways. So let's distinguish brain from mind. The brain is like a computer. Let's use the analogy of like a computer. And the mind is like the user of the computer. So what does the brain do? And what a computer does, it has a lot of stuff stored in there. So much stuff stored in your brain, just like in a computer. It has a lot of computing power. There's all kinds of energy flowing around in your brain. And also it sends signals to the body, right? It sends signals. All of those things, your brain is doing, it's unintentional to you. You're not intending the brain to be storing all that stuff. It just does it. And you don't intend it to use all that computing power. It just does it. So it's unintentional from your side. But the mind is the intentional user of the brain in this practice that we do. The brain the mind searches through the memories in the brain, right? Our mind, we can do that. We can say, wait a minute, I intentionally want to remember what this person said to me 3 days ago. I can search through my memory and try to find it. I can use the computing power of my brain. Sorry. My mind can use the computing power of my brain because my mind can calculate a grocery bill. That's intentional, right? I'm intentionally using my brain, and that is my mind doing that in this view. And so when the brain sends signals, the mind interprets the signals. Let's take an example. The brain sends me a message of pain in my foot, and I look down. Oh, I have to interpret this. What is this? So now I'm intentionally interpreting the signal that my brain sent me. Oh, I stepped on some glass. Now I have to think of a way to fix this. am intentionally using the brain signals. So this is how I distinguish the difference between mind and brain, and this is the mind training technique. So the brain can affect the body and the mind can affect the body, but differently. Like the brain, for example, if you get a stroke, that's unintentional. The brain, something happened to the brain, and maybe you lose feeling or even use of one side of your body. That's possible. It's like something chemical or hardwired goes askew. Your brain can really affect your body. But the mind can, but it's unintentional. It just happened, right, by you. But we also know the mind, what you think, what you intentionally are thinking, or what pops up in your brain can affect the body simply by what you're thinking. Here's an example. You're waiting for a family member to arrive for Thanksgiving dinner, let's say, and they don't arrive. They don't arrive, and they don't arrive, and they don't arrive, and you can't reach them. What happens? Here comes the narrator, right, Lillian?
Yes, the narrator.
Here comes the narrator. The narrator makes up all these stories. Now, narrator is Lillian's word. In Tibetan training, they have other words like the storyteller, the exaggerator, the embellisher, the dramatizer. Like you start making up all these stories in your head of what happened to your brother who didn't arrive, right? And so all this stuff is going on in your head. What happens? Let's do an example right now. Let's do an experiment right now. I want everybody here listening to think of something that you're worried about now in the world or in your family or in your life. This will only be brief, just for a second, okay? Think of something you're worried about. Close your eyes, think about it. What is it I'm worried about? I'm worried about doing this presentation, frankly. So now, where do I feel it? Where do I feel that worry? Me, right now, I feel it right below my solar plexus. I'm kind of like, tight. And it's kind of like, I'm trying to do a presentation. I think all of you can realize that when you're worried about something, you start to feel it somewhere. Some people feel it in their neck. Some people feel it in their shoulders. Some people feel it in their back, right? Just what you think, just by what you're thinking. You can even, so when your brother doesn't show up for Thanksgiving dinner and you're making up all those stories, you're stressing yourself out. And if you've watched some of the previous podcasts or video podcast, what do we call it? Marafiki Lillian has told us all about the effects of stress on the body, real physical effects of stress on the body. And you can stress your own self out for no reason at all, simply because of those little stories you tell yourself, right? This is something you can control. I said, what you think, what your mind does is intentional, what your brain does is unintentional. So let me ask a question right now. Is what we think intentional? I want some people to respond. Is it intentional what you think?
I'm going to give some other people a chance to do that. Ebony?
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
You think it's intentional what you think?
I think we can control some parts of it, but sometimes some of those thoughts kind of creep in. But I think if we practice that mindfulness like you're talking about, we can maybe control some of that. I believe, I guess.
I think that's a really excellent answer. I think the answer is no. We can't control what we think. Things just pop into our heads. Like now, we've never been trained to do this, right? But with an understanding and a way of noticing what's happening when you think about things, you can start to you can make it intentional. We can tell ourselves not to worry, right? We can tell ourselves not to worry. Does that help? When my brother doesn't arrive on Thanksgiving, how do I do that? Don't worry, Monica. He'll be here. It's no problem just because you haven't heard from him. That sometimes doesn't help at all. So one main solution that you probably heard in regard to mindfulness is to bring yourself back to the present. Every time something's worrying you, something you're worried about in the future, perhaps, that is about to happen, to bring yourself back to the present. Say, what am I doing right now? I'm just drinking my tea. That's all I'm doing. I'm just looking out the window. If you bring yourself mindfully when you're worried and you start to feel stressed, mindfully bring yourself back to what you're doing. I'm driving. I shouldn't be worrying here and being a narrator. I'm washing the dishes. Exactly. I'm picking this dish up. I'm taking this glass and putting it in the sink. Being in the present and paying attention to what you want to pay attention to. It's a skill, but it's something that is easy once you think of it to bring yourself back to the present. So that's my first clue about stress and the narrator getting in your head and telling you all these things you don't want to know. Frankly, I make up stories about what the current federal administration is going to do, and I don't know. I'm just worrying myself for no reason. I will do a meditation in just a moment, but I do want to give you one bit of wisdom that the Dalai Lama often quotes. He says, are you worried about something? You're worried about something? Okay, 2 questions. 1 question, can you do anything about that thing that you're worried about? Yes? Can you do something about that thing? Then do it, because then you won't worry about it. You go fix that problem. If there's nothing you can do about it, like my brother didn't arrive, there's nothing I can do about that, then don't poison yourself with worrying, because he's always late all the time. No, so, right? So it's a trick teaching yourself not to worry, but it's very possible to I mean, sometimes you can't avoid it. Someone's in the hospital, and you're worried about them. But there are relaxing rituals that can help you just let go of it for a moment, because you being worried and stressed out is not helping that person if you're worried about them. So let's talk about some relaxing rituals. These can be fun. Practicing mindfulness really can be like a game, especially when you notice things. For example, anger is very stressful. When you notice your anger, what do? You stop and just look at it. It's a really interesting thing. It's a fun game. Stop and look at your anger, and that's distancing you from it just a tiny bit. And it actually helps you let go of it, because anger is very stressful. So I have 5 relaxing rituals that I would like to just tell you about, and then I'd like to do a 2-minute meditation with you. You all have time for these relaxing rituals. You all have time for a 2-minute meditation. Believe me, my Georgia Tech students told me they didn't have any time, but when they came to class, they loved it and they made the time for it forever afterwards. So, I was telling Lillian about this one, uh, mindfulness meditation at a stoplight. Okay, you all get to the stoplights and you're gripping the steering wheel and come on, I have to be somewhere. There's nothing you can do about that red light. Believe me, there's just nothing you can do about it. So, what I was teaching my the police officers was, when you come to a red light, they could run through it if they want to, but if they come to a red light, take that moment. Here's a big opportunity. Red light, yay! I get to take a deep breath and relax. Oh, maybe I have time for another one. There's a long line of cars in front of me. I can take another deep breath and relax my whole body. And it's a wonderful thing to do. You'll get to work relaxed. It's really crazy. Now, Marafiki Lillian told me an even better way to do this. She's like, oh, take your hands off the steering wheel. So good. So smart. Because you're gripping that steering wheel like you want to kill it, right? She says, put your hands in your lap and then take a deep breath. So let's everybody take a deep breath right here. Just one huge in through your nose, deep breath, and out through the mouth. And, you feel immediately better, and you can see a red light as an opportunity rather than, an obstacle, right? Eating meditation is another wonderful, relaxing ritual. It's also a wonderful way to not feel lonely. It reduces loneliness. I'm just going to tell you about eating meditation. You pick one food that's on your plate, your first bite. It can't be every bite. It would take you forever. You take one bite of whatever you've got. Better if it's fresh food, because what you do is, before you take the bite, you look at the food and you imagine how it got to your table. Quick example, have an apple. How did that apple get to my table? Well, first someone had to plant a seed in the ground to grow the tree. Then the tree had to grow for several years. Then the bees had to pollinate the flowers. Then the flowers had to turn into apples. Then people had to pick the apples and pack them up and put them in a box. And I'm picturing these people. And I'm picturing the guy who's driving the truck. And I'm picturing the people who lay the apples out in the farmer's market or at the supermarket. And then I take a bite of that apple, and that apple tastes better than it ever did. Because, without all those people helping you, you would have never gotten to take a bite of that apple. I don't recommend doing that with highly processed foods because you don't know where that came. You showed a picture of factory, and that's not very nice, right? And you don't know where that food came from, probably. It's easier with something fresh. It's a wonderful meditation. Takes you 1 minute before you take a bite of something on your plate, and that's just one time. Um, uh, of course, take a walk in nature. These are 2 10-minute things. Take a walk in nature. So good for you. There's a great book called The Nature Fix, which is about being out in nature and how it benefits you. And of course, fresh air. And with Lillian introducing the music at the beginning, of course, music can be very relaxing. So that's another 10 minutes. Tea and your favorite relaxing music. Not all music is relaxing. So try relaxing music. Okay, I've used up my 15 minutes, but we're going to do a 2-minute meditation now that you can do at any time yourself. It's very quick. Usually I explain what we're going to do ahead of time, but I'll just start it, okay? Main thing is to have your back straight in your chair, or if you're standing up straight. And you're not crossing your legs or anything because that interrupts the blood flow. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you exhale through the mouth, relax your whole body. So here we go. First breath, really deep in through the nose. And relax your whole body on the exhale. 2 more. Relax your shoulders and your whole body. Last one. And then exhale and relax everything. Now, keeping your eyes closed or almost closed, just go to your regular breathing and think about relaxing the top of your head. Just let all those, like water, warm water, pulling off the top of your head. See if you can think about relaxing it. And move to your forehead and let all the wrinkles and stress lines just relax out. It helps to think of relaxing your eyebrows. And then move to your temples. We hold a lot of tension there, so release any tension in your temples. Let them soften. And then see if you can see what it feels like when you think about relaxing your ears. Sometimes you can feel that in your jaw a little bit. Now your whole head and face is mostly relaxed. Now we're going to relax the inside of the head. Just let all those thoughts and stressful ideas and future predictions disperse, just float away and dissipate, settle. You just have a calm, open mind, just making space for your mind to relax, giving your mind room to relax. Peaceful, empty, calm, relaxed. Perfect. Let's take one deep breath into the nose, out through the mouth. And then when you open your eyes, focus on the first thing you see. That keeps you from being too dazed. Okay, that's the end of my session.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Anyone who thinks they cannot do what she did was what we call body mind meditation, whereby you bring your mind back to your body. Anyone who thinks that they can't do it, you can actually do it while you're driving. This is something that I normally do. Anyone, most of you, I know you guys are very busy. You're very busy, mothers. You have all of these responsibilities, and you feel like I don't have time to do this. But think about, you have a lot of time when you're driving from one place to another place. That is when that narrator is very active, It's telling you what's going to happen, at your destination, and you have not even arrived there yet. So body mind meditation is really wonderful. Even when you're driving, you don't have to close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open, but be aware of that voice in your head and what kind of stories it's telling you. One thing that I've realized is that it's called rapid eye movement. Of course, you cannot do it while you're driving. That is when you move your eyes rapidly, left, right, up and down. That kind of like disconnect that voice and help you be in your body. But when I'm driving, what I do is, if that narrator is too loud and I'm not able to be in my body, I look to the trees on the left and then look up to the trees on the right. Okay, I look up, I look down, I look at the heavens, the clouds, and I look at the road. So that just eye movement kind of like disconnect that sound and helps me be in my body. Okay.
That's what you're paying attention. It's like you're intentionally paying attention to something else. So that's
Yes.
really, that's my.
Yeah. Esther Mwangi, do you have anything to say about this topic, body mindfulness and relaxing rituals, before we go to the next topic?
Oh, hi. Sorry, I just made it home. Uh, yeah, I think what you all discussing is very important. It's good to be intentional. So I like the tips that have been given by Monica.
Yes, good. One more person. Tema, were you able to hear anything that we talked about? I know you were just coming from work too.
I'm actually not home yet. I just came in, but I started with the last speaker, and she was talking about some medication methods and how to what happened. Right? Really,
Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna send this recording to everybody so that because I told you, I know you ladies, a lot of you are very, very busy. So, but thank you for joining. Okay. Our next topic is going to be, elimination diet and chronic wellness. We are going to just briefly talk about a food, which is just information for your body. We're going to talk about acute versus chronic inflammation, and we will talk about balanced plate visuals and quality over quantity. So I want you to pay a little bit attention, because some of these are going to be on the trivia, and I want you to get most of you I know are either A personalities or B personalities. They like getting their answers correct. This is something that we all learned, proteins, they are the builders. Their role is to repair tissues, build muscles, enzyme and immune cells. And of course, you can get them from the beans, lentils, eggs, fish, poultry. And what to think about proteins? Always choose lean meats, plant-based proteins. Those are very good because they add a variety of amino acids. The main thing that you're eating, the reason why you're eating proteins is amino acids, which are the building block of our muscles. So when you eat a variety of proteins, then your body gets that. Carbohydrates, these are the energizers, and they give us fuel, for body and our brain. So from our podcast, we were talking about quality over quantity. So the quality carbohydrates are that we should probably choose are complex carbs, rather than simple carbs, simple sugars. So complex carbs are like things like quinoa, oats, sweet potatoes, fruits, vegetables, and then over the refined sugars and white flour. When you're eating your carbs, make sure that it also have high content fiber, because what it does, it helps reduce like the quick rush of blood sugar in your system. It gives you that steady energy and also steady mood that you want. And then for the fats, they're the protectors. They support our hormones, they're our brain health, nutrients absorption, and we know about the healthy fats nowadays. Everybody's eating avocado. A lot of people love avocado, olive oil, salmon, flax seeds. And it's good to avoid trans fats and highly processed oils. And that is where, we have to read our labels. We really talked about that, the importance of reading our labels. So a lot of people try to avoid fat, but fat is not your enemy. Inflammation is. So if we choose fats that are like trans fats, these are the kind of fats that our bodies don't like. And, we have this complex inflammation going on because of what we are consuming. In Marafiki Wellness, it's not only foods, that, contributes to your health. It's overall, when you look at all the components that we have talked, all the pillars, they're looking at the whole body. So they're looking at the foods, they're looking at the stress, they're looking at exercise, coming together as a community, looking at all these areas and applying yourself into all these areas, you will feel better. Not just foods, you're eating foods, but you're very stressful, that, it's kind of like, counterbalances each other. And as I said, quality versus quantity. If you have like a balanced plate, eat more veggie, more colorful vegetables and fruits, eat more lean proteins, complex carbs, and then you can add a drizzle of, healthy fats. And hydration, that is a quiet nutrient. It's not amongst the three, but hydration is really important. Water or herbal tea is really good for you. Ebony, you are there. I want you to read out aloud the common triggers that you see there.
Oh, common triggers. Gluten, dairy, soy, peanut, and like corn, added sugar.
Okay. Elimination diet is not necessarily a diet. This is an investigative tool to use it. Let's say you find if you're suffering from chronic illnesses, if you have like diabetes, or if you have like chronic pain, chronic fatigue, elimination diet is a great tool to kind of like figure out, foods that kind of are triggering. We know about lifestyle. Like chronic stress, can trigger all these, chronic fatigue, chronic pain. But sometimes when it comes to food, it's really hard to pinpoint if anything is triggering your immune system, because you might be doing everything, well. You have a good exercise regimen, you sleep well, you meditate, but you're still having this chronic fatigue and chronic pain. And that's where elimination diet comes in. So elimination, this what we call an elimination phase, it kind of like gives you your body a chance to, to reset itself. So you look at these common triggers, you kind of like remove them from your diet for at least 21 days. Does anybody remember why 21 days? I think I've shared this before. Does anybody want to expound on that?
From what I've heard, it's like your system takes 21 days to form a habit.
So
you do it.
yeah, so 21 days, it's mainly a lot of food sensitivities are caused by IgG antibodies. So, and we will discuss the difference between IgE and IgG. So IgG antibodies are half-life is like 21 days. So for instance, I am sensitive to eggs. If I eat eggs, let's say on a daily basis, right, I start having joint pains. So for me to reduce that IgG load, I kind of like eliminate eggs for 3 weeks. And then when I restart, I might restart like with a small piece of egg. And when I do that, I have less effects of the joint pains rather than eating like eggs every day. So that's the thought process about 21 days. So because the thing about elimination diet is you're not trying to starve yourself. You're actually trying to figure out what is causing my body to be inflamed, right? That's the reason. That's the thought process of why elimination phase should be 21 days. So there's the elimination phase, and then there's the reintroduction phase. As I said, you should be your own Nancy Drew. You should be your own investigator. Because sometimes when you go to the doctor, you only see a doctor once every 3 months. They really don't know you. But if you facilitate that investigation on your part, write your food diary. When I eat, and especially when you're not eating like complex food, like high processed food, because high processed food have everything. They can have eggs, soy, corn, dairy together. So sometimes you don't know what is causing you to be inflamed. But sometimes when you kind of like separate the foods, you say like, let me eat eggs. Let me see how I feel. And then you put a record of it. And now if we decide to do the elimination diet, sometimes it's good to look at all of these foods and kind of like do away with them for 21 days. And then kind of start reintroducing one by one. These, a lot of people have, especially people who have like, even depression, because, that is also in inflammation process, depression. You kind of like, okay, when I don't eat milk, I feel less, I have less brain fogginess, I have less fatigue, and then I do this elimination diet, and then I start reintroducing it, and then I have those symptoms, then you probably have your answer. So the mindset for this is not to starve yourself, is to mainly do the investigation part. And then this other page tells you about reintroducing, and you introduce one food group at a time, at least for 3 to 4 days, and then you track your physical, mental, and emotional change. So you really get to know yourself. Sometimes we just sit somewhere, we eat, and we just move on, and we really don't really pay close attention to this body. This is one thing that is gonna be with you till the end. So this is your vehicle. And some of the symptoms that you can have is things like bloating, fatigue, rash. Like when I eat eggs, I don't know, sometimes I feel very moody. So for me, eggs is a no-no. I have found other ways to nourish myself without using eggs. Any questions so far?
Lillian, can I show something I got at the farmer's market?
Yes.
I wanted to show this because I've never seen it before. See this? This is a North Georgia candy roaster squash. Apparently only grows in that area, and it's amazing. Go to the farmer's market.
Yes, and that's another way of kind of like getting to taste variety of things and actually seeing what life has to offer there. You're not just sticking to your broccoli till December. You are introducing your body to different things. So that's good. Any question about elimination diet so far and reintroduction phase before we move on to the next slide? Okay. And if you have any questions when we log off, of course, feel free to to let me know. Okay, so the goal of this is to build a long-term balanced relationship with your food and yourself, once you're doing this kind of exercises. Now, I had mentioned a little bit about IgE versus non-IgE food reactivities, IgE, this is a little bit wordy, but it's a good page for you to kind of like familiarize yourself. So IgE is it involves antibodies and it triggers a histamine release. You have seen some people who eat peanuts and they have these hives, they break out into hives and they're wheezing, they can't breathe, they have this anaphylaxis reaction. That is what IgE is. Non-IgE, they are slower. Most of them are driven by T cells. They're represented as bloating, eczema, or chronic diarrhea. Okay, so that is the main difference. The onset, the immune pathway, common foods that trigger IgE, things are like peanuts, shellfish, milk, and non-IgE mediated is things like cow milk, soy, gluten. So, and then they also have different testing, testing for IgE is skin prick and serum IgE. For non-IgE is elimination and challenge. And IgE, you will definitely know that, oh my, because the body's going to be trying to kill you. The food is gonna be trying to kill you, so that's the difference. And then, we have heard a lot about celiac, disease. Everybody not everybody, but I've had a lot of people saying they have celiac and probably they don't have celiac. And then, so when it comes to gluten or wheat, there is a true wheat allergy whereby your body produces histamine, which is IgE mediated, and you can actually die from eating wheat. But celiac disease, it's autoimmune, that's an autoimmune disease. And then gluten sensitivity is what we are talking about, a non-IgE mediated. You have this bloating, brain fog when you eat gluten. So I just wanted to talk about this because I've had it a lot, especially celiac. That's something that you need to pay attention to. Now, then we have this gut-brain connection. Have you ever heard the phrase that the gut is the second brain? Has anybody heard that phrase before?
You bet.
Yeah. And then, and you will probably find out that, especially if you have what we call a leaky gut. Because sometimes when you eat something, you automatically feel bloated, you automatically feel brain fog. That is telling you that, there's something that you're consuming in your gut that is affecting your brain. And one thing to support your gut is to eat foods that have a lot of microbiomes, probiotics, prebiotics, and also other alternative lifestyle, like meditation. As we're talking, is what we call physiology of stress. Physiology of stress, trigger this immune cascade that can actually affect your gut. So it's not just food, it's also how you're living. It's also how, are you sleeping well? Are you meditating? Are you communing? Are you happy? All these things does affect your gut. So it's not just food. I just wanted to point that out. So this is something that, because you guys have, we have heard a lot about probiotics. So the probiotics, you don't have to buy the pills. Some people don't have, access to fermented foods, kimchi. So you can take in, probiotics. But I think the best way to really provide for your body is to eat, if you're able to have that. So the roles of probiotics, they modulate your gut flora, right? They strengthen that. There's a gut barrier integrity. The gut barrier, it prevents, some of these elements in your food going to your bloodstream. Because when it goes to your bloodstream, sometimes it triggers this, this cascade of effects. A lot of people with IgG, food sensitivities, is because their gut barrier integrity has been compromised. When you think about neurotransmitters, like the serotonin, the neurotransmitter that make you feel happy, 90% is produced in your gut. Not even in your brain, it's produced in your gut. So that's why it's very important to really pay attention to your gut. And then we do have a nerve that connects your brain to your gut, and that is called the vagus nerve. So there is that connection between your gut and your brain. Any questions? Anything to add so far? Ebony?
No
have a-
questions.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Did I miss somebody who had a question?
I was gonna let Ebony go before I ask my question.
Just go ahead, Esther, and ask a question.
I was just wondering when you said the gut is the second brain, it just occurred to me how maybe in my culture or just back home, the parents would say, "Oh, I've heard before, when you have an issue, it starts from your stomach."
Mhm.
Do you think that is like basically what they were trying to say? Sometimes they'll say you'll have a headache, but it starts from your belly.
Let me tell you, a lot of our ancestors had this had an understanding on our physiology more than we think they did. So probably that was a simpler way of saying what the scientists are telling you now. You know, uh, like even when Monica was saying, when she feels anger, she feels it in her solar plexus. Solar plexus is somewhere, base of your navel, that is where your colons are. So, see, like even the foods that we were eating a lot of cassava, we were eating a lot of arrowroot, we were eating a lot of sorghum, we were eating a lot of millet. But those traditional foods are being done away, and we're having a lot of foods that have been engineered. Uh, so technology is really, really fast, but our bodies are ancient, So the way our ancestors understood the world, it's very important for us to lean onto that knowledge. They were able to observe the stars, they were able to observe the body. So yes, that is the simplest way of saying what we are saying right now. But now science has science has caught up to their ancient knowledge. So yeah, I think so, Esther.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Makes sense.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So as I was saying, supplements. I just want to say that yeah, I'm a hospitalist in internal medicine, but my love is functional medicine. Um, so I love talking about food, researching about foods, about lifestyle, because that is more functional. And I know um, there's a lot of talk about supplements, especially in the world of functional medicine. Uh, Nowadays, sometimes it's kind of hard to, with the cost of food, going up. Sometimes it's really hard to diversify on your foods. And so sometimes some people might find it cheaper, to get supplements. But at the end of the day, it's better to consume a food because the food is complex. And actually, the interplay with the complex food in your body is very different from, the supplement, because the supplement is kind of like just one of the elements kind of like taken away from the food. So the interplay is different. Um, Three things, I just wanted to cover because of time. I just wanted to cover three supplements that I think about. It's omega-3, vitamin D, magnesium, and of course probiotics that we talked about, probiotics in length. Most people when they come to the hospital, like especially people with respiratory issues, the one thing I normally check is vitamin D, and believe me, a lot of people have low vitamin D. Um, uh, Anything below 50, of course, the scale the lab scale it says anything about 30, but optimizing is between 50 and 80. So you have to understand a disease like diabetes or hypertension, it's just a word. It's just a word telling you about a whole syndrome. Somebody might have high blood pressure. Two people might have high blood pressure, but they have different reasons why they have high blood pressure. So the personalized factors that could be what we call antecedents, your genetic predisposition, your family history, your early life, and environmental exposure. Another thing could be triggers. You never had high blood pressure, but now you have high blood pressure because you are a CEO of a company. That is, stresses in your life, infections, toxins, food sensitivities, trauma, or nutrient depletion. And then another thing is mediators. Ongoing processes like chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, hormonal imbalance, or microbiome dysbiosis. So these are two people with what we call high blood pressure or diabetes, but their personalized factors are so vast, So yes, we are treating you with high blood pressure medications, but the main work is you getting to figure out why, and the meditation and mindful meditation is going to really help you get back into your body and to ask yourself those important questions. I'm gonna go really quickly on omega-3 fatty acids. The sources are cold water, some fish, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, and algae. Their roles is mainly anti-inflammatory, neuroprotective. They improve the membrane fluidity, cardiovascular health, and cognitive functions. So we do have omega-3 and we do have omega-6. So it's really important to have more omega-3 so that they can counterbalance the omega-6 dominance, which is really found in our modern diets and which might lead to inflammation. I normally don't test for omega-3 fatty acid. That is really expensive. So Medicare, Medicaid probably won't be happy if I keep on testing that. But vitamin D, I check on it a lot, especially to our melanated brothers and sisters. Our skins are beautiful, but due to the it really helps us from the sun rays because our ancestors came from equatorial areas. But vitamin D is not just a vitamin, right? You find it in, fortified dairy, fatty fish, mushrooms, and it regulates over 200 genes, including those related to immunity, bone health, and inflammation. And if you are deficient in it, you can have, chronic fatigue, frequent infections, and mood disorders. That's why I said when somebody has this, like COVID or they're always having a flu, I always check this vitamin D. Then the last one that I'm going to talk about is magnesium. The reason why it's because it's a core factor in more than 300 enzymatic reactions, especially those that are involved in your ATP production. You can find magnesium in your leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains, avocados, and dark chocolates. They help regulate muscle relaxation, sleep quality, stress response, and blood pressure. And you have to know that there are different kind of magnesium. There's glycinate, which is used for calming, citrate for bowel motility, malate for energy support, and threonate for cognitive. So most of the time, our testing just probably let us test one kind of magnesium. It doesn't really help let us test for all these different magnesium, different types of magnesium. So as I said, those 3 supplements, I find that they're important for us to take. Nowadays, there's so many supplements out there, but at least if you have those 3, if you're not getting enough food of different varieties, probably those are some of the 3 that you can focus on. Okay. Let's go to the nutrition trivia. I want to see the answers that you're going to write. Okay. I want you to type your answers. For number 1, which macronutrients support muscle repair? Let me see. Let me see your answers. Which macronutrient? Okay. I know some of you cannot type. Okay. Oh, good. Perfect. Protein. Yes. You are listening. True or false? Chronic inflammation can be driven by food. True or false? Okay. Good. Which vitamin is fat soluble and support immune health?
You forgot number 3.
Oh, sorry. How long should food be removed in the elimination diet?
Sorry.
Ah, people were listening. Hey, that's good. Which vitamin is fat soluble and support immune health? Yes. It supports 200 genes. That is, you know, you don't want to be deficient in that. What is a gut often called? That's good. Okay. So, with that, let's, Monica, do you have like 1 minute meditation that you can give us before we go to the next and final session?
Of course I do.
Mhm.
Okay, let's have a this is a attention meditation. So the more often that you do attention meditation, it helps you when you are like trying to accomplish a task or listening in a class, or it's just a practice. So my favorite attention meditation is maybe not going to be that useful to you in the uh, area environment where you're sitting in, but it's just a listening meditation. So let's just do once more. Um, take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. First one, and on the exhale, completely relax. 2 more. Deep breath in through the nose and completely relax. Last one. Deep inhale as deep as possible, and then relax everything. Now let's just go directly to our normal breathing. Relax your forehead. Relax your forehead and your temples, your eyebrows. Just let them soften and settle and relax. Now we're just going to listen to our environment for 30 seconds. And I might make some little sounds over the computer just so you have something to listen to, but I might not. So just sit and listen. If your mind starts wandering, bring it back. Just say, I'm listening. Well, here we go. 30 seconds only. Do you hear any cars going by? Do you hear any fans? Any birds? Okay, 30 seconds is up. You can open your eyes. Can anybody tell us anything that they heard? I heard cars going by on the street.
Anybody? I can hear dogs. I heard dogs on the streets. Okay.
It's a really good meditation to do when you're sitting outside.
Yeah.
Just really, really relaxing when you're in a park. Just taking 30 seconds and doing that can be just so refreshing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Monica. So we're gonna go to our final presentation of the day. This will be more interactive because this is something that I've heard a lot. Feeling friendless. One thing about Marafiki Wellness Club that has enabled me, it's the meeting people and telling them about the club, and with this kind of discussion, you kind of like get into the depth of things really, really fast with people. And feeling friendless is something that, I've heard a lot, people saying. There is this licensed social worker. I was listening to a podcast and I actually shared it with Monica. Her name is you like it, yeah. So her name is Mina B, and she kind of like broke it really down, for me, and I felt, oh, this. I mean, I'm going to use some of her rationale. You know, why is friendship hard as adults? Anybody with a reason? Marcy, are you on? Marcy? Okay, let's see. Let me go to Nancy. Okay, Cassandra says past experiences and baggage. Okay. Anybody else? Nancy? Why is it so hard
Yes.
to make friends as an adult?
I think part of it, and I can relate this to, because when you go, like, for instance, like you have kids to go to the park, you find kids form friendship really quick, but you as a parent, you just kind of like they're looking at each other. Because as an adult, there's a lot of things you calculate in your mind, like, is this person gonna like me? Is this person gonna be of what I like? Like, there's so many things that you in your mind. But for kids, it's a kid. They go there. Do you want to play with me? If the kids say yes, they say no, you move on. But as an adult, there's that rejection. Like, you feel like this person might reject me. This person might judge me. At the same time, when you're there, you still have a lot of things in your mind. Like, I'm not here to make friendship. Like, for instance, those people who like going to the gym, you're focused. I'm just going to go work out. And somebody maybe want to be a friend to you, like, hey, how are you? Well, when do you come to work out? But in your mind, you're like, no, I did not come find friendship. So there's a lot of factors that make us, as an adult, we don't form friendship as much as the young people do. So that's my take on that one.
Okay, Esther says we are busy, ... Also being banned by some people before. And then Monica says family takes up a lot of time. Okay. Thank you so much. The reason why I thought why we don't make friends is because we have not been able to, because all of you, most of you I met you here in Oklahoma. But most of you, we don't talk on a daily basis. You don't know that I had a stomach ache this morning, But I consider you as a circle of friends, but the category is different. And that category can change with time. So let me break it down for everybody. So yes, this is, some people say life transition, barriers, burnout, negative beliefs, comparing yourself. And then another one is mainly that, we have these barriers on, who we can let in, who we cannot let in. So I'm gonna go to the first circle of support. So there are four there are four circle of friendship. Let me not say friendship. How she says it is circle of support. That's what she mentioned that. So there's one that we call circle of intimacy. Circle of intimacy is, relationship fall into four circles: intimacy, friendship, participation, and exchange. And each circle has a unique value. And how do friendship grows? It grows through participation and being vulnerable. And I do understand you, Nancy. You're not gonna go to the gym and just become vulnerable to the next person who is doing, curls or or push-ups, But that is also, it can be a form of a relationship, even if you don't, it kind of like don't share intimate things. And I'm gonna go more into it. So circle of intimacy, these are closest ties, family, chosen family, best friend, your partner. So this is the circle of intimacy. So this circle has been is like this because there's so much deep trust, vulnerability and care. These are people who have seen you through thick and thin, That is a circle of intimacy. Now, the other one is called circle of friendship. So these are reliable friends who bring joy, laughter, and encouragement. But this circle of friendship, it needs consistent investment or else it will fade. The fourth one is circle of participation, co-workers, neighbors, gym, peers, community members. This is a relationship whereby you have repeated encounters and then you have this small openness that build deeper bonds. So like if you see somebody often in the gym, maybe they're working their lower legs, it could be a chance to spark a conversation, oh my, yesterday I did my legs and man, I was really hurting. And then this is what I did to alleviate that. You have these repeated encounters, and you have this small openness, build that can build to deeper bonds. So these are not the people to tell you and to tell about your darkest secret, but this you have recognized that this is some sort of relationship. It's not intimate, but this is what we call a circle of participation. And then we have a circle of exchange, role-based relationship, therapists, teachers, coaches, and it's defined by reciprocities and boundaries. So those are the four circles that I wanted to talk about: intimacy, friendship, participation, and exchange. Do you see the difference? Does anybody see the difference in all of this? Okay, good. Now, I'll give you an example. And maybe some of you can give your own example. Monica, when we started, 10 years ago, she was in my circle of exchange. She was my client. Okay. And of course, we couldn't discuss personal things. It was mainly, her body, how she's doing. Mainly it was me providing a service and her paying me. That was what we did. But during our encounters, sometimes, she will talk about her dog and I will talk about my, just small talks. I'll talk about my son, and then eventually, we, because of her energy and my energy, we kind of like started bonding. I started telling her about, hey, I'm thinking of going to medical school and stuff like that. And then, and now look at us. We are under circle of friendship, and how do I constantly make sure that this friendship does not fade? I know Monica is an intellectual. We have something in common. We love wellness. So at least every month or every other month, we share a podcast to listen to, sometimes a book. To the point that when I moved, she lives in Atlanta, but now I live in Oklahoma. We have, our relationship has developed to a place whereby she actually came to stay with me for a few days. That is how the circle can change with time. This started as circle of exchange, And now it is a circle of friendship. Cassandra, can you talk about us? Cassandra is another person. And I came to this country. Um, I needed somebody to help me with my son. And so we were at the circle of exchange, right?
Yes. Yes. And I think ours was due to the caring of your son, like the best we could care for him, and that grew into like a family friendship. And I think that's what caused our friendship to be solidified because we had we extended ourselves as each other's family. And so it got to another level for that, I think.
Yes. Thank you. And I love her dearly, like I think about her so often. I think about, like because we have developed that, she is, like my sister. My mom is in my circle of intimacy, also. So, and I don't take it for granted because she's my mother. I still have to make investment into that relationship. So that is how relationship can change, if you let it be. I have met a lot of you through maybe church or through maybe Marafiki Wellness, but there's a potential of that growing. Why? When you participate, when you go to those games, identify somebody that you think, hey, maybe this parent, we have something in common. Identify yourself. What I say, making yourself vulnerable is not going to bear your soul to somebody, but hey, hello, smile. My name is here. I see we have a child at, the same age. Well, be the first one to invite them to your child's birthday party, because you never know. And that's how, by participating in these circles, that's how you kind of like get to know if you want to continue with this relationship or not. What do you think, Ebony?
No, I agree. I agree and all of it about just how sometimes someone can start as a rare encounter and then you build on that and then um I mean, like you said, you might encounter somebody at the gym or you might encounter somebody that you see on a regular basis, but you might not initially engage with them, but through time and a little bit of effort that can become more intimate relationship or a family, a chosen family.
Yeah. And, I know, most of us are going to come to this group because we want to talk about wellness. But another thing that I want us to really keep a mind on is having accountable partners. Um, and this is a good way to build friendships. So let's say both of you have work night shifts, Nyakeo and somebody else work night shifts. This is something that you guys can, you can pick up like one of the pillars, let's say restorative rest. Working night shift is difficult, right? So if you have an accountable partner that comes from Marafiki that work night shift, and with each other, you can kind of go back and forth about ideas to really relax and restore yourself. So this is something that I will love to really, really encourage, especially for us. Most of us, as you see in this, apart from my husband, most of us are women here. uh, and this is how we can also pull in our husbands or our love our partners, like if I come to Marafiki Wellness and I know my partner is into golf, us women, we are the pillars of our society, um, and we are the caregivers to our children, helping them participate more in the community, finding an accountable partner. That is something that I really want us to foster. And if you pick up like a pillar, let's say either even nutrition, have an accountable partner for at least 3 months. 3 months is a good time for you to build and create habits. So that's something that, I want to really focus on this year, so that we really don't feel friendless. We feel like we have an opportunity to actually make friends. Even if it's just participating, people you participate in, because you never know, it can grow up to be something else. Okay. Due to time, we're gonna go straight to our trivia on healthy relationships, and then we're gonna go through some slides about our goals for next year. So the first one, let's type in our answers. True or false? Adult friendship requires effort and communication.
The answers are already there.
Yes, true. It requires communication and effort. Number two, which circle includes coworkers and friends? Oh, shoot. I already have the answer. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
What makes it different?
Huh?
That makes it quicker.
Yeah, so coworkers and neighbors are in the circle of participation. And then the circle that is based on deep trust and reliance is intimacy. All relationships should not be in the intimacy circle. I mean, you cannot just meet people and telling them about your dark secrets, or your future wishes, that has to build with time. You have to have a lot of participation. You have to have reliance and deep trust. And then friendship often grows from the circle of participation because, as I said, the gym, you go to the gym, probably you go to the gym the same time with this person. You have those moments that you can discuss things that can grow from participation to friendships, like all of us are going to be, hopefully. And then the club, Marafiki Wellness Club, can fit in the participation circle, whereby we kind of like participate. Then we kind of like see, okay, we are more reliable. We are doing events more and more together. That can lead to from participation to friendship. Okay. I'm gonna just tell you about goals of our 2026. We want members to have accountable partners to tackle one challenge based on 5 pillars for about 3 months. I'm hoping to have webinars like this, not as long as this, but maybe we can tackle one issue at a time. Every maybe 6 to 8 weeks, we're gonna work on that. I'm hoping to do at least 4 community events next year. I'm also hoping that we are going to partner with more organizations in Oklahoma. Right now, we are working with Oklahoma Beautiful, which is a good thing. And I'm also hoping to turn this organization to NGO status. That is the goal for 2026. And especially when I turn this to an NGO status, I just want you to look to see if maybe some of you can become board members. Let's say like Monica, she loves meditation and all of that, she can clearly help us with that. So if you have something in you that can really help us grow, let me know, reach out to me. And this is the different ways you can participate. You can volunteer. You can invite others. On our website, we do have our donation tabs. We do have YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram. I'm not really good at social media, so if you know somebody who wants to participate in this, let them reach out to me. Okay. Any questions so far? Any question?
Lillian, when you were talking about supplements, what do you think about spirulina and chlorella?
Well, that's is good. I hear that has like what, 72 elements, something like that. It's very rich. But you really need to look at the source where it's coming from, because sometimes it can be, depending on the source, it can be very it can have like heavy metals in it.
Yeah, I think mercury. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to kind of like make sure where it's coming from. And when it comes to supplement, I don't recommend people taking them every day. I emphasize on eating quality food, and then maybe supplements every 3 days in a week. But and also it depends on you. So It depends if you're, let's say, like you're anemic. I cannot say three. You probably need iron maybe 4 times a week. See, so it depends on you. I don't like having like blanket statement like that, but main thing, find the source. Find the if you can have some testing, you can do some simple testing to see what you are deficient in, so that you're not oversupplementing yourself too. Okay. Any other questions so far? Let me see. Okay. Yes, please. And on our YouTube, please subscribe, like, and share. Good. Oh, Cassandra, you have a new dog? Okay, we'll talk more about that. That's good. That's gonna help you find friends. People like talking about their dogs. So that's another way to build community. Okay, now before I go, I want to let you know that we do have a party coming up October 25th. Okay, October 25th. We have a party coming up from 5 to 9 p.m. On that flyer, you're gonna see the number the same number that you've been texting me. Please text me the number of people that are coming and the type of meal that you want. Otherwise, if you don't, you're gonna drink water and biscuits. I need to be able to plan the number of people to feed. And just come. My husband, Albert Albo, my husband is going to be the DJ, so I'm really looking forward to that. Yes, there's planning these events can be costly. So if there's a way that you can volunteer with your time, that would be really helpful to me. Okay, good. Now, before we finish, Cassandra, will you please do a reflection for us?
A reflection.
Yeah, you can read our reflection there.
Oh, okay, let me see. Okay. Our wellness club is not just a place to work out or attend classes. It's a community. We welcome people from all backgrounds and walks of life to come together, form relationships, share, support, and grow. Through our program events and community-driven incentives, we have witnessed remarkable transformations, not only physical, but also mentally, not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yay.
Yes. So Marafiki Wellness Club, collective wellness is our way. Wow. Thank you, guys. I know we went over time, but thank you so much for attending. Once I make, I'm gonna send this to my people who can help me do it, like put it in the YouTube channel, and I can share it with you. If you want me to share the PowerPoint, let me know. You just text me and I can send you the PowerPoint as well.
Thank you for putting this together. I know that was time.
Thank you so much. Okay, if nobody else has anything else to say, I really appreciate you, and just spread the word about Marafiki Wellness Club.